Ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
The Star Fantasy League Show puts you in control of your own team. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, and co-host SFL CEO Zach Stanley and Nick Steblenko. The Star Fantasy League Show is on the air now.
Hello and welcome to the radio universe. Wait. That doesn't sound right. Let's try that again, everybody. Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on 105.5 The Team in Rochester. Doesn't that sound so much better, guys?
Sounds smooth. That sounds prepared.
Yeah, if you didn't get to tune into the Star Fantasy League Show last week, Matthew Footer and Jason Gringer headed up the ship as myself, Nick, and Zach, and Seth Young. We're holding down the fort in Las Vegas.
I think we did a pretty good job out there.
I think that not only did we do a good job out there, but Foot, you and Jason held down the fort, except you will forever live in infamy with the term Hello Radio Universe.
Well, I didn't want to actually steal your thunder and take your tagline, so I tried to come up with something.
So that's what you came up with?
That's what I came up with, unfortunately.
He comes up with Radio Universe.
Yeah. If you took all last week off just because the show was a little strange, I am Jonathan Sprung. I am your host, joined by Teddy Bear 2, Nick Steblenko. What up, Nick?
I am just happy to be back. That was a long, strange journey. I don't know if we were in the radio universe or some magical made-up world.
I don't know where.
Like the radio
yeah,
universe,
I don't know where we are, but I knew that Matthew Footer was in the radio universe,
was.
or what. That's still. I'm gonna make fun of you for the rest of your life for that. That's just. It made no sense. Zach was sitting on my bed. We were listening to it, and he just burst out loud. It was
sitting on your bed.
Yeah, he decided that. He decided that my hotel bed was also his hotel bed. I wasn't okay with that.
I thought it was funny.
No,
I found it quite hilarious, actually.
All right, so we're done talking about
breakfast in bed.
We're not going to talk about this whatsoever. Zach will be back sometime.
At some point
Yeah,
in the future.
he got stuck in Vegas a little bit longer. That's also not true. He's got some nice meetings, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We're back on the Star Fantasy League show, and that means Bills talk. It's Monday.
Woo! Bills.
Oh, stop it.
I have to fill in for Zach doing something.
But you are a Bills fan.
You
are wearing a Bills hat and a Bills sweatshirt right now.
That is
so he's doing his job pretty well then.
That does sound about right. So we're going to break down the Bills-Lions game. But since there happens to be a major game next week with the Bills, we're also going to break down a little bit of the Patriots on Sunday Night Football and then talk about the Week 6, biggest matchup in recent Bills memory? This is pretty big.
Totally, and Kyle Orton is ready to lead the charge. Yeah.
You guys are
crazy.
so negative.
No, I missed a week of bashing Bills fans all over Western New York. I love the Bills, I really do, but I couldn't even believe that I couldn't believe the crap that I was hearing coming out of their mouths. How do you figure that a guy that's 38 and 38, in his career, how do you figure that that's your answer to the future? I just don't get it. E.J. Manuel can look as bad as he wants in his rookie year because he hasn't even played a full 16-game season. He can do whatever the heck he wants out there. You're not even going to go. I'm sorry. I'm saying you're not going to the playoffs.
Hold on.
You're not going to the playoffs.
Kyle Orton is the quarterback that gets you to the cusp of the playoffs, but never gets there. That's the guy.
It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I'm going to speak in absolutes. Not going to happen. The Patriots are going to come in and stomp you.
Yeah, I mean, we read his stats last week compared to EJ. Granted, it's a smaller sample size for EJ, but they literally were almost the same person stat-wise. And it was just like, okay, is there going to be any difference? He did make some really nice throws yesterday. That one down the sideline, was great. And then on the, I think it was a 2-point conversion, it was going to be a pass play, and he checked out of it to a run play. So those are things you wonder if EJ would have, made the right move.
Although,
he hasn't had enough time. Give him time. He needs to develop, right? Well, he needs time to get comfortable in the offense.
This was a strange game to judge him based off because it was the number 2 rush defense in the league. Obviously, they weren't going to try to pound it against this team. Yet again, only 20 total rushes for Jackson and Spiller. Granted, Detroit is really good in their front 7. That makes sense, but you don't even try. They didn't even try.
I'll give him that one. That's fine because the Packers couldn't do it, and pretty much every
nobody
team,
can do it. Yeah.
Nobody can do it against them. So yeah, I'll give him that one. But I just the overarching question is, what do the Bills want out of their quarterback position in the future?
A beard.
What do they want?
A beard.
I think what they want is just consistent mediocrity. It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. Oh, yeah, he can learn. He can learn on the bench. You know what names I heard thrown around for E.J. Manuel?
Oh, no.
Aaron Rodgers, Phillip Rivers, guys that sat on the bench and learned from a quarterback, a starting quarterback. They sat behind Hall of Fame quarterbacks. They sat behind legendary quarterbacks. There's no comparison. There is no parallel here.
This all sounds horrifying. Bills fans, are you excited? Right now, are you excited? Footer, are you excited?
Yeah.
That might be the perfect
level of
excitement.
I would be too. You're 3-2.
Yeah,
I would be excited, but I'm sorry. Me personally, dreams crushed.
Here's the serious question on all this. What the heck did the Bills take away from this? Because they didn't win this. They didn't win this game. The Lions lost this game by missing 3 field goals.
Mm-hmm.
They should not have been in this. They shouldn't have been in this game.
Resiliency. They can take that away. They can take away that the rest of their team actually looks good. This is a defense that held the Lions offense really to 7 points. They held them.
Yeah,
there
was a pick six.
Okay,
yeah.
fine. So he makes those 3. Fine. Then it's 16 points. That's really good against this offense. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I think that's.
Although, hold on. You're saying this offense, but you also have to remember Calvin Johnson was not really. He was playing the decoy role. He left the game.
And he left, yeah.
Reggie Bush left the game. No Joique Bell. So if you think about it, the only weapon on the field was Golden Tate.
Well,
literally,
Matthew Stafford.
I know, but his only weapon was Golden Tate.
Yeah, but I think that Matthew Stafford has proven that he can shoulder the load without other receivers
But that's
there.
a lot of people
It is.
out. That's
It
4
is.
of your top weapons. Just go ahead, get out
Sure.
of here.
Yeah, I mean, Tate he exposed what was that's the only weapon. He had 7 catches for 134 yards and a touchdown. George Wynn, guy came out of nowhere, had 50 yards basically on 11 carries. That was kind of scary.
Their fourth.
They signed him out.
Option.
Yeah, they signed him out to practice squad before the game. They knew Joique Bell wasn't going to be there, and Theo Riddick was out, so needed somebody.
I mean, like Nick said, I take the impressive defensive stand. I mean, Marcel Darius was a beast. He had 3 sacks and a forced fumble yesterday. That was great to see. With Kyle Williams out of the game, he kind of stepped up.
Absolutely.
As well as, Sammy Watkins making some really impressive catches yesterday in clutch situations, not just garbage time. When they needed that first down, he got the 20 yards, and he had that 1 catch behind him as well. He tipped it to himself. I think those are probably the 2 things that I take away from this day.
I don't know that we learned anything. I think these are things that Bills fans across Western New York should know already.
Yeah.
They have a great defense, a defensive line that really rivals anybody's in the league, and they have a lot of pieces on offense, including a rookie that they just drafted that they moved up to get. They have 2 running backs that they should be able to utilize to get at least 150 yards a game. It just doesn't – it's not going to add up unless you have a quarterback there, and unfortunately – there's 2 stances to take, and the Bills took, I think, the wrong one.
Where's your weekly bashing of the offensive coordinator? You forgot that part.
What do you mean?
You always bash the
I already
offensive coordinator.
bashed the hell out of him.
I know, but I want to hear
They
my name.
put a quarterback
I want
in
to
this-
hear you call him out again.
Fine, Nathaniel Hackett. What are you doing? I don't understand what you're doing.
He just can't
I don't
hack
understand I don't understand what Doug Marrone is doing. You don't make sense. You're trying to save your job by putting a guy in there that is 500 in his career. He doesn't win. He's not going to separate you.
That's true. You know what? Going from a guy who literally he wins as much as he loses to a guy that all he does is win. Let's talk about Tom Brady last night. There were a lot of rumors circulating about him that he was unhappy with the offense. Basically, he doesn't like when they trade away the superstars who are a little bit past their prime, and this one happened to be Logan Mankins. He got a little upset, and I think that's what's leading into him playing not so hot this season.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really – a lot of people have said that Tom Brady doesn't have the weapons that he usually does, but didn't he make his name on making the best of a terrible situation? I mean, yeah, he had the season where he had Randy Moss and he went crazy. That's great. When did he ever have something like that on his side other than that?
I mean, when Wes Welker came to the team, he was a punt returner, third wide receiver for Miami, and they let him go because they didn't see any value in him.
Wait, that sounds familiar. Isn't there a guy that's exactly like that on the team? Oh, Julian Edelman. Same thing.
They have 2. They have Danny Amendola, too.
Oh, okay. Whoa. Hold on.
Danny Glass, but he's still a good receiver when he's not hurt.
Didn't he get hurt? He got hurt at the end of this game.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I can't. Nobody in the world should count on Danny Amendola as a healthy piece of any. He literally can't play more than 6 games a season. He just can't.
But the games that he does play in, he's good in.
This is true.
It sounds like another guy, Gronkowski.
Exactly.
Can't play more than 6 games a season.
Although, okay, the big formula that came out of this game is guess who got most of the targets in this game? The tight ends. Finally, 16 targets between Tim Wright and Rob Gronkowski. I wonder if this is harkening back to the time that the offense was really good in 2 tight end sets.
This is what we said at the beginning of when they made that trade for Tim, right?
Yeah,
we were saying,
exactly.
Man, this is a guy that could really turn out to be Aaron Hernandez, and look at what he does when he actually give him an opportunity. He actually looked fast out there. He looked athletic. He looked like he could make plays. He got into space. They put him out on slip screens, bubble screens, stuff like that. I don't understand why they didn't do that before. I don't get it.
You know,
but,
maybe he didn't have a great grasp of the offense. That could be. Because he literally got traded a week before the season started. That could be part of it.
Yeah, definitely. But, I mean, now that you've seen what he can do, let's see if they can do more of it.
Is it fair to say that Tim Wright was killing it as good as Aaron Hernandez out on the field?
I'm not going to touch that joke with the 4 foot pole. I'm not touching it.
All right.
Not going to happen. All right.
Only 4 foot pole, though.
Yeah,
go up to 10.
Yeah,
Mike up.
we're about
Is that the
all
same
right
amount
with
of space him and Zach share in the bed, too?
We're not. I'm not discussing anything. All right, can we talk about what happened to AJ Green in this game? Sure, if you look at the stats, his stats were pretty good, but that was mostly garbage time. Darrelle Revis is a beast.
Yeah, well, the touchdown catch, too.
Wasn't even on him.
Revis actually left the game for a little bit there. Yeah, he got shut down. Absolutely shut down.
And one of the best, that strip fumble was amazing. He's just like, oh, you have the ball? Nah, not anymore. I got it.
To tell you the truth, though, AJ Green has trouble against Joe Hayden, too. He goes up against Joe Hayden twice.
And Ike Taylor, for some reason, who's gone.
Oh.
No, that is true. The numbers are there on that.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a shutdown corner against him, apparently he's not as good as he's built. So, interesting. I thought he was better.
Are we worried about this Cincinnati team? Obviously, they were undefeated heading into this game. I think this was one of those games, New England at home, you absolutely had to win this game, right?
Yeah, I'm not worried about them. They were getting beat up on the ground game, so I think that's something they need to worry about just a little bit. But yeah, like you said, the atmosphere, it was Sunday Night Football, and in Foxborough, no, I'm not too worried about it.
And they were embarrassed on Monday Night Football, too. I mean, the national media was calling out everybody.
Yep.
The people were chanting, Brady sucks.
Oh,
and then they changed it to Brady, like fair weather fans just left and right.
Yeah, welcome to New England. We're the biggest bunch of whiny fair weather fans ever. And I'm allowed to say that because I'm from there. They're a bunch of scumbags.
So you say you root for the Patriots now, too?
No, I said the general fans in that area are flip-flopping douchebags. That's what they are. they chant the worst things. They are the worst people. I am just going full heel in this show. I don't even care anymore. I don't care. Boston fans, get it together. Stop hating on your star players. I'm not okay with it.
Fair enough.
I'm not okay with it. I do not approve. Boston, I'm calling you out. Hey, coming after the mail, I got mailbag, right?
Yeah.
Finally, mailbag. John's mailbag's back after the break. And you listen to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
The Star Fantasy League Show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
We are back on the Star Fantasy League show, and we're back with Footer's Fantasy Feedback. No, that's not what the segment's called. It's not.
I couldn't think of anything catchy last week, so I went with Donald's mailbag.
Okay, so you put all of your creative juices into Hello Radio Universe, but you couldn't replace Donald's mailbag with like Footer's mailbag.
Exactly.
That's just sad.
I find it fantastically interesting.
Of course you do, because you're laughing at him and not with him. That's rude.
No,
Why would
Matt's
you
got
do
a
that?
big old smile on his face.
I know. Being on this show, he was
knows.
so happy. He thought he was going to get the hosting duties when I came back. No, not going to happen. This belongs to me.
We should put this up to a vote.
Yeah, our 3 listeners, two of which are your parents.
We
Great.
tried so many times. It's just
They
gets
probably
shut
wouldn't
down.
even vote for me either. So.
Oh, that's uber depressing. I'm not okay
what
with
it
that.
is.
All right, before we get in the mailbag, I wanted to talk quickly. What do you think about next week? Patriots, Bills. That is probably the biggest game in recent Buffalo regular season history.
Yeah,
right?
just like the last Bills game that they won, and they gave a quarterback a bunch of money, and he turned out to be crap. So you were saying?
I mean, it's
Thanks for prefacing that, Nick.
I've essentially, I was not one for the Kyle Orton move either. I've been saying that for a few weeks now. I'm happy you won. I am a Bills fan first. I don't see us winning on Sunday, unfortunately. Until you got to prove it to me that you can win these big games until I pick you in these big games.
Well, see, but that's what's going to happen is Kyle Orton's going to have a great game, and he's going to prove to Bills fans that they made the right choice. Then they're going to pay him $30 million, and he's going to suck. They're going to do it right in the middle of the season.
He's already the highest paid backup. I guess they can't do anything worse.
No, they can. Trust me. They can sign him to a long-term deal.
This sounds like a reverse Disney movie. This really does. You're like, the guy gets paid and then sucks. No,
it's just the chronicle of the Buffalo Bills since the Super Bowl era. That's all it is. It's just been a downward spiral, and it's so sad, and I just wish that they would pull themselves out of it the right way.
Me too.
Now that Jim Kelly is over the cancer scare for the moment, why don't you just pay him to come back? I mean, you're not going to do much better.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Looked like he had a pretty good arm at the Hall of Fame.
I did see that. Yeah, bring Andre back, too. Why not? Bring the whole band back together.
I bet Andre could still play.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, although I kind of like your receiver, so I'm not gonna go too far there. Your quarterback, not so much. Not so much. All right, let's jump into the mailbag. So you guys are not that not
optimistic?
I was gonna say the word optimistic, but I don't even think we're even close to that.
I'm excited.
Of course.
That's about it.
Of course.
Okay, perfect. Zero optimism on the Star Fantasy League show for the Bills.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's get in the mailbag. Carlos M. writes, it seems like the wild card teams are advancing the playoffs quite easily against the supposed juggernauts of baseball. Can one of the wild card teams win it all in October? Wasn't the World Series in November this year? Isn't it like it keeps going? October baseball is no longer like a real thing.
Well, I'm not entirely surprised. I mean, I guess I should be, but wild card teams do this. They run the table on teams, and really the biggest thing is that they don't have a layover. You know, they don't lay off. So they keep playing. The magic keeps rolling. Kansas City, you had to think that they were going to bring some magic into that matchup because that place was rocking in that game against the A's. They had to do a whole lot to get to where they were. The whole city was just tired of being a laughingstock in Major League Baseball. I mean, I'm really not entirely surprised. Now, a sweep, I am extremely surprised that they just swept right through the Angels.
Well, I said that earlier in the season. I don't know why. We jokingly were just like picking before when we were obviously not on the air, you, Zach, and I picked the Angels, but then I completely forgot the argument I had on this show that their rotation is not made for the postseason. A lot of those guys they were meh this year. They just didn't know. Nobody really stood out to me as like a dominating pitcher this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, they just keep the Royals just put up a ton of runs on them. They put up 8 last night. I mean, it's that's not a good sign when your pitching staff, or particularly your bullpen, like we saw with the Tigers, when they can't hold their own, it's all going to go to hell real quick.
And when you're paying for guys like Josh Hamilton, who got his first hit of the series last night, but I think you ended up 1 for 22 or some of that. You know, you're paying for guys who've not proven themselves in the postseason. You're not going to get success.
Yeah, I honestly don't know where this whole throwing money around thing goes. There's actually going to be a question in the mailbag about that coming up later, but a lot of these like small market teams are really killing it. Although I think one of the teams that's considered, they are a wild card team, the Giants, they just seem to have it down. They're not built with these big names. They have some names, like I think at one point in the season we tried to name their order and we just couldn't do it. It's like the Brandon Belts and the Brandon Crawfords
teams, but whatever.
Well, no, I understand. But this is a supposed team that's won 2 World Series in the past 5 years, 3 years?
There's a famous head coach that's not coming to my mind right now. I want to say it's like Scotty Bowman, but I can't remember exactly. Said that there's 2 different teams that you have to have every season when you come into the season. You have to have a regular season team and you have to have a postseason team. And it sounds a little stupid or maybe just childish, if you will. But if you think about it, they play 162 games during the season. Those players have to rotate in. You have to have a deep bench. You have to have a lot of different players doing a lot of different things. But once you get to the postseason, you have to have a mentality. You have to have a group of guys that really buys in. And the Giants just kind of have that. They have a leader in Buster Posey who is he's just there. You know, you have a character like Pablo Sandoval, Panda, you know, guys that the crowd can get behind. And that's just a city that loves their baseball too. So all in all, yeah, they have a great postseason formula, whatever it is. Bruce Bochy has been fantastic in San Francisco, so not surprised to see them doing well again.
I honestly, I see them. I don't know why I didn't pick them. I see them going deep again, right?
Could happen.
Or are you gonna stick with your pick? You gonna
what?
Stick with the
Cardinals? The A's and
no, you picked the Cardinals.
And the A's and the Cardinals. Yeah, well, the Cardinals I still like, but that first game threw me for a loop.
What, the fact that
Wainwright and Kershaw, that just threw me for a loop. Kershaw's just cruising along, and I kind of figured Wainwright would get hit a little bit, but Kershaw just cruised along and then just exploded. He just blew up in the 7th inning. I had no idea what to think of that. So I don't know now, and it's all up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, Jason and I were talking last week. We broke down each of these series kind of before it started, and I wouldn't take our expert baseball analysis because we pretty much picked every game wrong up to a point. But I still did like St. Louis out of the West. I think I picked the Tigers in the East, or the AL. So I'm not going to end up with that. But I think I had the Giants and the Cardinals, and I just like teams that have that postseason experience, and they just seem to resonate well each year. So I mean,
it's definitely a postseason pedigree. It always seems like those two teams have, no matter who they like you said, who they cycle in. It always seems like they have a couple big pieces, and then they cycle in guys who can just play well throughout.
Or who's managing either. I mean, the Cardinals have changed their managers over the last couple of years. One. That's what I mean.
It's Mike Matheny, right?
Yeah, but
just bring a guy. You bring a guy who's in the system. He used to play for them, right?
Yeah.
For him? Yeah, that makes sense.
You mentioned postseason pedigree. Can we name 2 teams right now that do not have postseason pedigree? Oakland. They can't seem to get it done in the playoffs. I don't know what it is.
How about Detroit? Well, Detroit got to the ALCS
No,
last year.
Detroit has a little bit more. And then the Nationals. The Nationals get there, but they just never get over the hump, and now they're down 2-0 to San Francisco. It doesn't seem like they're gonna be able to put something together. And after getting beat the way that they did last night,
that confuses the crap out of me because their rotation. I thought that rotation was actually made for the playoffs. They have 4 really solid pitchers.
Absolutely.
How do you go down 2-0? Like, what are you doing?
But it just goes back to what you're saying. I mean, if you look at postseason, successful teams in the postseason, there's some sort of formula there that they just get. They understand the way of life in the postseason. Because, that rotation was just walking through the NL East.
Yep.
They were just fine. They had everybody was clicking. Everything was rolling. Then they get here, and it's like all of a sudden they're the rookies.
Who's pitching game 3? Is it Lincecum or did he pitch games? He didn't pitch game 2, did he?
I do not. Let me see here. We'll look it up.
We'll probably look it up. All right, let's go on to question 2. We'll figure out that information as we go. Jim S. writes, with all the big spenders failing in the playoffs, what does this mean for the future of baseball? I got some stats here. Of the 6 teams remaining that have not either fallen or moved on, Dodgers first in payroll, Giants 7th, Nationals 9th. The teams that are actually winning in the playoffs, Cardinals 13th, Orioles 15th, Royals 19th.
It's fantastic. Pfister and Bumgarner for that matchup, by the way.
Bumgarner's pitching I thought he pitched game 1.
No.
Oh, he pitched the play-in game. Okay, that was what it was.
Well, I think it's awesome for baseball. I love seeing this. And yes, I love the Red Sox. They are my favorite team. But I also love seeing a team like the Royals, just a ragtag group of guys that really none of them are hitting over 300. I mean, or at least during the regular season. Mike Moustakas got sent down to the minors.
For a while,
Yeah. And he's back and he's doing fine. I love seeing this because I think that people lose sight of the fact that baseball is a team sport. You get caught up in the fact that it's a pitcher and a catcher and a batter, and then, every once in a while the rest of the guys do something. It is a team sport. There is a team aspect to it, and it's great to see that. We saw it last year with the Red Sox. They got into this whole beard thing, and everybody bought into it. But that's just it. When you buy in, there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, I think this is one of the few times you'll hear a Yankee fan and a Red Sox fan agree on something on here because I completely agree.
I disagree. Oh, sorry, what?
I completely agree with them. I like seeing these teams in here, these small market teams. I like seeing the whole small ball, stealing bases, bunting, doing anything you can to win this game. Because
that's exactly what it had. And just to go off of what you said there, when the Royals stole 7 times against the A's in that game. That's
crazy.
That's just, you're going to win. Yeah. You're going to win.
Yeah, I can't believe that if things boil down, if the Dodgers end up losing to the Cardinals, we're going to have one team in the top 10 in payroll make it to the championship series. That's incredible. I can't even, when was the last time that happened? I can't even tell. Because, last year, obviously, we had, I think, 3 of the top 5 got into the Final Four. So, where do teams look at this and go, oh, maybe spending money and throwing it at players isn't the correct thing. Maybe we should spend money on multiple players instead of going, oh, just here.
Whatever. Yeah, this is definitely an oddity. You see over the years there's usually a random team like the Florida Marlins in 2003 or, a couple other teams who
Diamondbacks randomly a couple times.
Well, they actually paid for Schilling and Johnson at that time.
That is true.
But you get these teams who have these good stars, and then they let them go after the season. But it's very rare to see multiple teams kind of following this pedigree. So
yeah, I don't think you're going to see a change in the way that baseball operates right now until there's a real salary cap put into place. But it's just nice to see. It's nice to see that another team can make it. One of those ragtag groups can make it. It's good to see that stuff. I just don't. You're not going to see an executive say, "Well, we should stop paying the guys that are throwing sub-3 ERAs and hitting over 300, bashing 25
yeah, but
home runs."
They need to stop that crap with paying stars after they've been in the league for 12 years. Those $200 million contracts, like Teixeira getting $20 million a year at this point in his career, is insanity. It's insanity.
And I agree.
It's never going to change, too.
I agree with that too.
I
can't argue with that. Another agreement with the Red Sox fan right there.
And I'm talking about one of your players. I just mentioned Teixeira. You're like, don't pay him. How about A-Rod? You're paying him too.
Let's not get started on that.
$50 million a
They're
year.
trying not to pay him.
Yeah.
They're trying to stop.
$50 million a year between Teixeira and A-Rod right now. Ugh, can't deal with it. All right, coming out the break, we're not talking about guys who can't play. We're talking about, injuries. They can't play either. Oh, God, so sad. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on 105.5 The Team.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at starfantasyleagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League Show with Jonathan, Zach, and Nick. Only on The Team.
All right, Footer, did they get your name right during our week off?
No, unfortunately, we didn't pay or give food to the cage guys, so it was both of us.
Okay, I did a rundown on how to run this show. You're supposed to feed him.
Apparently, I missed that memo. I missed the memo on how to introduce the show, too, apparently.
You definitely missed the memo on that. Hello and welcome to, I don't know what this segment's called. Let's talk about it. I didn't hear. Did you do that, too, or just the opening of the show?
Let's move on.
Perfect. That's kind of what I figured. All right, we're talking injuries from Week 5 of the NFL season. We also have Monday Night Football to get to. We're going to talk about that at the end of the show. But I'm sure there'll be some injuries to talk about tonight because no game goes on anymore in the NFL without a major injury occurring. It just happens.
Yeah, but I mean, they're putting rules in place that'll probably not do anything to stop that. But things are going well.
Yes, when super athletic people run full speed at each other and then hit each other, I don't care what kind of rules you have in place. You're still going to have injuries.
I played football for a year or two back in high school,
which makes you an expert.
The very first thing that the coach said to me was, "It's a collision sport. Go out and run into somebody." That's the point of the game. So I don't understand it, but that's for another time.
That is for another time. Coming up on our special edition of the Star Fantasy League Show, Nick talks about his football experience.
SFL 15 for 15.
No, that got cut for budget reasons. Sorry.
Or just because it sucked.
Yeah, that might be true too. All right, so let's talk about it. We normally don't have this segment unless there's serious injuries that affect fantasy, and let's be honest, every single one we're talking about today affects fantasy in a major way. So, did you get bit by the injury bug this week?
Oh yeah, dude, come on. If you didn't, you were once again extremely lucky, but it'll come.
And probably playing one team, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, let's get to it. Monty, let's go first round, guys. There's 3 first round potential draft picks in the injury report this week. Monty Ball, groin injury. We don't have a report out on how serious it is yet. I haven't seen it. They said they're going to announce at some point today.
Initial reports said pretty serious.
Yeah,
they were talking a long stretch.
Yeah, that's depressing because that whole offense now. I mean,
is it? I mean, I don't know.
It's a potential. You potentially spent a top 10 pick on him. I saw him going
from
around
fantasy,
10 to 12.
Yes, it is devastating
for the team. Who cares?
But at the same time, yeah, exactly. And the other thing was but he hasn't lived up to his billing. He hasn't, not one bit.
Okay, are we really going to do the whole Kyle Orton thing, EJ Manuel, and then say Monty Ball, who played half of last season as an actual featured back, and then 4 weeks this week?
No. I'm not saying replace him for the Denver Broncos. Not at all. What I'm saying, from a fantasy perspective, he hasn't lived up to his billing.
Correct.
He's been he was a late first, early second round pick in most leagues. Hasn't lived up to that at all.
No.
So
I shied away from him unless he fell to mid-second, which he pretty much never did.
I think, obviously we'll get into our waiver wire stuff tomorrow, but there's probably 3 or 4 guys out there that are going to be number 1 running backs now. You might even be better off with one of them than Monty Ball this season.
Wow, that's sad.
It is sad.
I have a
feel
feeling
badly for the people that picked him highly.
Yeah, anytime they mention the words "could be serious," that's even if he does come back this season, you think he's going to come back and be the guy? I don't think they're going to want to jeopardize that.
We do have to wait to see the seriousness of it all. I mean, if it really is that bad, then no, I think you need to make plans for the rest of your season.
Yep. All right. So moving forward, we're going to see some kind of split. C.J. Anderson was a healthy scratch from this game, right? He didn't play.
Ronnie Hillman's been the primary backup, but yeah.
It's Ronnie Hillman, right? That Ronnie Hillman guy.
I think that they would just as easily go with a committee approach with the two of them and not even think twice about it.
I personally think if we're obviously talking about actual waiver wire implications. I really think they're going to give C.J. Anderson a chance. Why would you give Ronnie Hillman, a guy who hasn't really done anything in his career, the boatload of the work?
Exactly. They gave Ronnie Hillman a shot last year. Wasn't able to take it.
He got passed by two guys last year.
Yeah, I mean, they gave it the ball. He wasn't able to take it, and they settled on Moreno, who had a nice season last year. So I really think Anderson's going to get a fair shot, and I expect him to be the starting guy in a couple weeks personally. So,
yeah.
I just don't. I think there are going to be other guys out there I'd rather take a look at. This is an offense that the ball can be spread around to every single player, and the running game is kind of it's very much secondary to the passing game,
or like third or fourth or.
So
like
I mean,
fifth.
if you're in a PPR league, yeah, you get a boost there, but I think overall it's just they're gonna mix the two guys in. They're gonna see who works, and I don't think we're at the point in the fantasy season where you can really wait 2 to 3 weeks to have a starting running back. I think you need to go after a guy. If you can't get him that high on the waiver wire and you have to go later, sure.
Perfect. All right, here's another guy that you could have gotten in the first round. Man, there are so many first-round picks out. Calvin Johnson, ankle injury, re-aggravated in this game, came back, left, it just was all out of the place. He was basically a decoy.
Yeah, this is silly to me.
Why do you play you play your star players when everybody in the world knows he's going out there to be a decoy?
I have the perfect answer for you. I know I've been studying this team for a long time.
Jim Schwartz is no longer the coach.
No, it's very simple. It's because they're the Detroit Lions. Okay? You guys asked me why I hated the Bears so much and I didn't hate the Lions as much. It's very simple. Because they just kill themselves.
Yeah.
They just shoot themselves in the foot. This is a stupid move. This is just a yeah, that was good. This is a stupid move. Why do you play your star player that is literally the best wide receiver in the league? Why do you play him as a decoy? And why do you even put him on the field to risk that? You should be waiting for him to be ready 100% to go out there and slay every team in this entire league.
The play wasn't even an impactful play. It was a 7-yard basically screen pass to him, and the defender went low, and he hit his foot on the guy's shoulder, and it was done. That was it. Yeah. It wasn't even like he was trying to hit him in the end zone for a touchdown, and they basically wasted him for another week to 2 is what I think is what they're saying at this point.
It's just silly. It's a silly move.
Yeah, it honestly makes no sense to me why you would risk someone like that. Forget fantasy right now. Why would you risk, like you said, the best player at his position in the league for what, 1 week?
And the Lions
if you'd held him on an extra week, he probably would have been fine for week 6. And no, we'll play him.
Lions are competing for the division too. It's not like they're bad either.
That's what you think, buddy.
Oh God, we have Packers homerism following into the show yet again.
Don't worry, we'll be there.
All right, we have to talk about the fact that they do have a number one receiver who isn't named Calvin Johnson on this team. It's Golden Tate. Golden Tate, we've mentioned before the season, was going to be really, really good in this offense. And guess what? As soon as Calvin goes down, 7 for 134 and a touch, he's the guy.
He was lined up for a career year at the beginning, and now he's going to have 2 weeks without Calvin Johnson just to be the number one guy.
I actually think this is going to be better for some of the other guys, too, like Eric Ebron, who only got like 2 targets in this game.
Well,
I don't really know what that was.
Yeah, but I mean, they've been the jury's been out on him. They know he's really talented, but apparently there's some issues with character. Maybe he doesn't fit in well, but he also hasn't been very impactful on the field. So whenever he does get his chances, he doesn't make the most of them.
He did have a touchdown called back yesterday, actually. He caught it at the goal line.
Oh, I did see
and
he
dropped it, and they ruled it a touchdown originally. So it wasn't like it was a bad call. I mean, he did drop the ball and not complete it. But they were looking for him around the red zone, which I think is where he's most effective, obviously.
They do that with all their tight ends. Remember last year it was like Fourier had 7 touchdowns last season. Yeah, something like that. Pettigrew's always there.
Ago. Yeah,
man, they just love tight end. Why don't they have 5 tight ends start for that team?
Sometimes it seems like they do.
Yeah, they might. Go ahead, get your shots now. You like them. You don't even care.
Sometimes you don't have 5 tight ends on a team, or like ever. So
I can't.
I don't know how you want me to get a shot in there. That one's kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's talk about the other half of the offense for the Detroit Lions. Reggie Bush went down in this game with an ankle injury. Joik Bell didn't play with the concussion, so they went with 4th running back. Fourth running back, George Wynn. I'd be worried if I was a Detroit Lions fan right now. Very worried.
Well, I'm more worried about the Joique Bell injury. His concussion seemed pretty serious. So I don't know. I mean,
he got pretty messed up, right?
He's supposed to be the guy that can pound it between the tackles, and anytime you have a runner like that get a concussion that keeps you out even 1 week, that might spell doom down the line. So Eddie Lacy had a concussion earlier in the season, and I kind of compare those two because they play a similar style. His wasn't as serious because he popped right up out of it right after the game, said, don't feel bad, feel good, ready to go. We haven't heard anything good like that out of Bell. So I'd be more worried about that. Reggie Bush and Joique Bell complement each other very well. I mean, as a staff, you have to be excited about a guy that can get outside the tackles and make things happen in space while also having a guy that can get those 3-4 yards that you need to pick up a first down.
Well, the worst thing I heard on this is he still has yet to pass concussion. They said he's closing in on passing protocol.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
That's bad.
That's not good at all.
Yeah.
That's one of those ones where you're like, okay, so he's going to go back out there, get rocked in the head again, and now he's going to be done for the season.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in a Jordan Reed situation where he went from playing week 6 to not playing the rest. It was like week 6, week 8, something like that. He didn't play for like 6 straight weeks because of one concussion. Mm-hmm. That's sad because he was looking pretty promising in that offense.
This could definitely be a situation like that.
This is somber. This is just a somber segment. I can't deal with this right now.
And again, Bell was another guy that was taken very high for a lot of people's drafts too, and
yeah, or traded for, could have been traded for.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot, Zach, wherever you are.
Yeah, I don't know.
Lost on the Las Vegas Strip somewhere.
Yeah, probably.
Good riddance.
Good riddance to you. All right,
yeah,
another.
I traded him golden tape, by the way. That was fun.
Yeah, another high draft pick. I feel like I sense a theme going on here. Jimmy Graham, shoulder injury, left, came back in, left again. Man, what is going on with these big targets? Just going down.
It's kind of crazy because Graham, he had one big injury in the past, but he's never really been a guy that's always been, if he's hurt, he plays, and he's usually still effective. He's never a guy that's, I'm going to leave the game and not be, effective. But he
except for last season, we had that one game where he only played snaps in the red zone and still had 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So, for him to go out, I mean, it was very nice to see, Robinson and Pierre Thomas basically step up, and they kind of changed the offense, which you need to do when a big guy goes like.
Oh, look at that, New England. When your big guy's out, you change your offense. I think they didn't get that memo last year.
I don't think so either.
I know it's a black cloud to talk about the pay-for-play situation with Peyton and the Saints and all of that, Greg Williams. But there's still a culture in the NFL where if you see another team's star player and you get a shot at him, you go after him pretty hard.
Of course you do.
So it happens. I'm not really surprised that if and when big tight ends start to get targeted, it's just maybe that's just not the case. I'm not sure.
Man, you took that down a whole different route that I wasn't even thinking of going down.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, Jimmy Graham is obviously their number one weapon in this offense. So if anybody gets a free shot at him, even though he's probably twice their size, they're going to take it. So, I mean, you can go back to the days of Bill Romanowski where he'd reach in the pile, find a finger, and break it.
Oh yeah, I hope that's still not a thing.
No, I hope not either. But that's still that kind of talk is still going to go on in the NFL, whether you want it to or not.
Ugh, why do you have to reference Bill? That guy's horrible. Didn't he also spit in someone's face during a Monday Night Football game?
Then he also repented for his sins on national television multiple times.
Oh, so good for him. Let's give him a standing
ovation with that.
Let's give him a sitting ovation for that. Thanks a lot, buddy. Man, what is going on with New Orleans though? Like what you mentioned, Thomas
question.
And Robinson. They should have lost that game, by the way.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay actually looked kind of scrappy in New Orleans. I was really surprised after beating Pittsburgh last week. But they needed to step up. They changed the offense. Who else do you think steps up next week if Graham doesn't play?
I mean, you're gonna have to look for the other wide receiver targets in Kenny Stills and Brandon Cooks. I mean, maybe Marcus Colston wakes up this season.
I think Marcus Colston and Pierre Thomas need to be more heavily involved in the offense because they are on my fantasy team.
Oh, that's why. They're part of your fantasy.
That is just crap.
All right, coming after break, we are breaking down tonight's Monday Night Football game, and you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
We are back, Radio Universe on the Star Fantasy League show. I just cannot let you let
should
that down.
Should call it the footer universe.
I mean, I'll I'll let you use it. I haven't trademarked it yet, so I'm allowing you to.
No,
keep
I already.
using it.
The second we heard it, Zach and I trademarked it, so it now belongs. It's a subsidiary of the Star Fantasy League show.
And that's why I'm always on the low tonal pole here. I don't
Yeah.
think
See, now
of
what
that
you should have
stuff.
said there was, what you're saying is I have an automatic spot on the show.
No.
Yeah, I don't.
Trademarked on the SFL show.
I actually.
automatic spot on the show.
Yeah, it's the Star Fantasy League show presented by Footers Universe.
Oh, I like that.
We're gonna have a subsection of Giles Mailbag called Footers Stupid Universe Question of the Day.
Fantastic.
Ooh, perfect.
Look, you're like, yeah, I get to be part of the show every day.
Yes.
We'll let you come in the office, have a question. Tweet us at SFL Show if you want to hear Footers Universe Question of the Day.
Yes.
It's going to be the worst question we get. I'm just going to ask it. Yeah, you cool with that?
I'm completely fine.
All
with
right,
that.
just checking. We're moving on to the Monday Night Football game. We're saving some injury talk for tomorrow's waiver wire discussion on Tuesday's Star Fantasy League show. But we got to break down tonight's game because mainly we forgot there was a game tonight. I'm convinced we did the rundown for the show before the show, and somehow we let it slip that there was a game tonight. How is that possible?
Well, because it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, and I think you're still probably in Las Vegas, so you're like 3 hours behind, so you haven't caught up with it.
Oh, yeah. No, so in about 3 hours when the game starts, I'll be ready for the game.
Yeah,
Oh, that's perfect timing. I'm glad you're here, Footer. You get the real hard stuff down.
that's
Don't
why
worry,
I'm
he'll be here from now on because it's Footers Universe.
That is true. Footers Universe, what do you think about tonight's Seattle-Washington game? Especially after what happened last week with the team that we thought was on the up and up who crapped the bed.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in a couple guys, really. I'm interested in Marshawn Lynch. Right now, he is the 7th running back to have the highest yards per average with his 50 or more carries. So he's averaging about 4.5 yards a game. He's showing no signs of slowing down, essentially. So really interested to see him going up against a Washington defense, which, has had some good games, but the opponents haven't been the best either. So
To say they were bottom 10 in like every defensive category last year.
Yep.
They were really bad.
Like Green Bay.
yes,
Except-
pretty much.
No,
Except-
Green Bay stinks on defense.
I'll say,
That
except
wasn't
Green
a
Bay
joke.
has a franchise quarterback to carry them.
Yeah, well,
Washington does not.
yeah, but that doesn't. All I said was that Marshawn Lynch could run all over them because our defense stinks.
Yeah, that sounds
terrible.
about right. That's what I have. Marshawn Lynch looks beastly. That's what's written down on my rundown because let's be honest, for a guy that was going sometimes in the 3rd round in fantasy drafts this year, I cannot explain that. I literally could not explain why he was going that far.
No, I mean he's carrying that offense as Percy Harvin and Doug Baldwin are separated by 1 yard. They're only at 115 yards basically each. And obviously they're sticking to their pedigree. They're number 1 in rush defense, and they're not the greatest against pass defense, but you can make up for that in other areas. So,
Do you think that this Washington offense can actually exploit any of that though? I think they're just dysfunctional enough that they're not going to be able to really do anything except for the obvious garbage time throwing the ball.
I think the biggest benefit is that they don't have to go into Seattle and play this game because
Well-
if they did, they would be pretty done.
Well, they're already 7.5-point underdogs at home. So if this game was in Seattle, that means the spread would be 13.5.
Something like that, yeah. The one thing I'm very interested to see is obviously Kirk Cousins. Can he bounce back? Can he actually be a viable option? He throws 4 interceptions and everybody writes him off, but I still think that had a lot to do with coaching, because you just don't stick a guy out there after he's thrown 4 interceptions. You have to come back and you have to make a decision. You have to say, okay, maybe we should put the backup in, maybe we should relax a little
That
bit.
is. Who you got tonight? Quick.
gotta go with Seattle.
I'm going to pick the Redskins in an upset.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, I'm sticking with Seattle. Come on now. Play at StarFantasyLeagues.com for Week 6. We already have $16,000 in guaranteed prize pool contests already ready when you sign on tonight. Perfect, right? Free 14 bonus code gets you 100% to $2,000 and an $11 credit directly into your account. And it wouldn't be the Star Fantasy League show if I didn't make fun of Footer one more time.
I actually did remember to do most of that stuff.
No,
last
you
week.
didn't. All right, and it's not Footer's universe. We're just living in it. Take it easy, guys.